Well, hello everyone. I hope you are doing well today. I wanted to talk a little bit today about, I think a lot of people don't realize how the Jews have rights to the Temple Mount, how they legally have rights to the Temple Mount. And I want to read for you a few articles that are pretty lengthy, but I wanted to read them for you. And then I found some stuff in Trump's peace plan that I wanted you to hear. And I want you to listen very closely to the wording that was used in the peace plan. But I want to read for you just so you can see what's going on and how the Jews have legal grounds and legal rights to that Temple Mount. And they could at any time essentially go up there and say, this is our land. But for some reason, they are not doing that. And I think it's because they are trying to keep the peace. So there's an article that was on Breaking Israel News, and it says, in wake of Trump deal, Muslims warn of new reality on the Temple Mount, and that it is Muslims only. The Jordanian Ministry Islamic Affairs reacted negatively to President Trump's proposal for peace coexistence between Israelis and Palestinians by saying that the deal of the century imposed a new reality on the Temple Mount. The Islamic Affairs Ministry cautions against the imposition of a new reality at the blessed Al-Aqsa Mosque. The ministry said in a statement posted on Facebook, "Non-Muslims have no right at the Al-Aqsa Mosque," he said. It should be noted that the statement mistakenly identified the Temple Mount as Al-Aqsa Mosque, which is the silver-domed Muslim prayer structure located on the southern edge of the Temple Mount. The Temple Mount, referred to in Arabic as Haram Sharif, the holy sanctuary, which was the only Muslim worship site on the Temple Mount when it was conquered by Israel in 1967 in the Six-Day War. Israel granted administration of the site back to the Waqf under the Jordanian custodianship while maintaining Israel's security control. In addition to the Israeli police restricting non-Muslims from praying at the entire Temple Mount, non-Muslims are restricted from entering any of the structures, and entry hours are very limited. Currently, 11 gates are open to the Muslim public. Non-Muslims are only permitted to enter through the certain gate. I can't pronounce the word, but a certain gate, and the Jews must undergo strict security checks. In accordance with international law, the Israeli High Court ruled that all holy sites in Israel must be available equally to all religions of worship. Palestinian violence has prevented the Israeli police from implementing this law, however. The Palestinians have also illegally They illegally took over 4 more areas for exclusive Muslim worship using heavy machinery for renovations that destroyed archaeological artifacts. Trump's deal called to end the racist policy currently being held in place by Palestinians as a threat of terrorism. It says, unlike many previous powers that had ruled Jerusalem and had destroyed the holy sites of other faiths, the state of Israel is to be commended for safeguarding the religious sites of all and maintaining a religious state quo. Given this commendable record for more than half a century, as well as the extreme sensitivity regarding some of Jerusalem's holy sites, we believe that this practice should remain, and that all of Jerusalem's holy site should be subject to the same government regimes as it exists today. In particular, the status quo at the Temple Mount, Haram al-Sharif, should continue uninterrupted. Jerusalem's holy sites should remain open and available for peaceful worshipers and tourists of all faiths. People of every faith should be permitted to pray on the Temple Mount in a manner that is fully respectful to their religion, taking into account the times of each religion's prayer and holiday, as well as religious factors. That was in the peace plan. I want to interject a little bit there, and before we continue on. Now, it was maybe, I think, 2 weeks ago, Trump and Vice President Pence agreed with the Pope about the interfaith Chrislam thing, interfaith thing. So when I heard this, all I see is the joining of one religion, right? Where everybody can join in harmony and everybody can pray together and we can all live in solidarity with each other. That's how I took that. So this article continues. True to their threats, prayer from Muslims turned into riots on Friday morning, with crowds chanting nationalist and racist slogans. This is today. This is the third Friday in a row in which Muslim prayer on the Temple Mount have been used as a pretext for Palestinian violence. On Thursday, 2 Palestinians were arrested after they were discovered with knives. Israelis do not seem to be intimidated. This person, the head of the Temple Mount Advocacy group, noted a rise in 20% of Jews who ascended to the Temple Mount just this week. Today is January 31st of 2020. There was a clear call on the Palestinian social media to prevent Jews from ascending to the Temple Mount, but to be honest, no one seemed to pay it any mind. Sanderman told Breaking Israel News, many people saw Trump's declaration as a call to sanity, a call of an end of the dark age, attempt by Muslims to dominate modern and open society. In a normal and healthy culture, people are permitted to worship and are not forced to bow to subservience to another religion. I feel like we are returning to normalcy. So, before we continue on, Trump is this deal of the century, even though he's basically saying that nothing's going to change as far as the Temple Mount and everything's going to kind of stay the same. The Jews are becoming bold, and they're recognizing that they indeed have a right to that land. They have a right to go up there, and they have legal right to do so. And so they are going to start becoming more and more bold. They're going to start coming more and more up there, and they're also going to start allowing other religions. Here comes the interfaith allowance, where they're going to start allowing other faiths to come up there and pray, which is going to cause problems between the Palestinians and the Muslims and all of that. So here we are on myjewishlearning.com again, and this is going to talk a little bit about how the Jews have legal right to that land and why they choose not to do anything about it. So it says, who controls the Temple Mount? So since Israeli force regained control of the old city of Jerusalem during the Six-Day War of 1967, Israel has extended its sovereignty over the site. Though most of the world regards Israel's authority in all of Jerusalem, Eastern Jerusalem, to be illegitimate. See, Muslims don't agree that that spot is theirs, even though there's proof and evidence to prove otherwise, that they really do belong there, that is the part of their land, which we know biblically it really is. Day to day, authority over the site rests with Jerusalem Islamic Waqf. The Waqf is a charitable trust recognized by Islamic law. Jordan, which had controlled Eastern Jerusalem and Islamic holy sites prior to 1967, continued to exercise a special guardianship over the mount, an arrangement later codified in 1994 in the Israeli-Jordan Peace Treaty, under which Israel respects and presents special role of the Kingdom of Jordan in Muslim holy shrines in Jerusalem. Overall security of the site, including entry to visitors and worshippers, rests with Israeli security forces. Why is the site a flashpoint of violence then? The religious sensitivities surrounding the Temple Mount have repeatedly made this site a flashpoint for violence and unrest. Palestinians have long suspected that Israel intends to alter the status quo established for the site following the 1967 war, and some Palestinian leaders have even claimed that the Jewish temple never stood there to begin with. In 2015, rumors that Israel was preparing to impose a change at the site was said to be a contributing factor to the so-called stabbing incident that occurred there, during which a number of knife attacks were perpetuated against Israeli citizens and Jerusalem and everywhere in the country. On September 2015, Palestinian Authority President Mahmoud Abbas said the Palestinian said on a Palestinian television that Israelis would not be permitted to defile the Al-Aqsa Mosque with their filthy feet. Israel has emphatically denied that it wants to change current arrangements at the site. However, several Israeli leaders have made symbolic shows of asserting Israeli sovereignty there, and there have been plots of Jewish fringe groups to blow up the Dome of the Rock. There's been rumors that they want to blow up the Dome of the Rock so that they can put their temple there, which there's proof that there was previous temples in that spot to begin with. So why are some Israeli Jews pushing for greater access to the site? Efforts to secure Jewish prayer rights at the Temple Mount have gained traction in recent years, despite the mainstream rabbinic opinion that Jews should not set foot there. A number of rabbis have issued contrary rulings saying that visitation and prayer should be permitted, and by some estimates, the number of Jewish visitors has vastly increased. Among the most prominent activists is Yehuda Glick, an American-born rabbi and current member of the Israeli Knesset. Glick is a leading figure in efforts to secure Jewish prayer rights on the Mount, framing his campaign in language of civil rights. So they're slowly, and we know that this is all part of the end times. This is part of what's to come. They're going to start becoming more and more, gaining more traction with implementing their laws, which they have laws, they have rules that they own that site, and they are being nice and allowing the Muslims and the Temple Mount to be there. But it's going to come to a point where they're going to say, this is our land and we're taking it back, because they won that spot in 1967. That is their land. They were nice enough to let them, they gave it over so that they could create peace, which peace hasn't been available to the Palestinians and the Jews. So I was looking through Trump's peace plan tonight. I was kind of reading through it. There's a lot of stuff that I don't care about and I don't really understand, and that's as far as like economic stuff, money issues, and stuff like that. I didn't really care about that. I was kind of specifically looking for one thing, and that was about the Temple Mount. I wanted to find out about the Jewish temple, the third temple, if Trump was going to help them build it, what he says about it in there, and he does not mention it anywhere in that thing. I think it was 188 pages. He does not mention it at all. He doesn't mention helping them build it, nothing. But there is something that I wanted to share with you, and I want you to pay attention to the certain words that were said in that peace plan that Trump has released. And it says here, let me see here. Today, the concept seems far from reality. Gaza and the West Bank are politically divided. Gaza is run by Hamas, a terror organization that has fired thousands of rockets at Israel and murdered hundreds of Israelis. In the West Bank, the Palestinian Authority is plagued by failed institutions and endemic corruption. Its laws incentive terrorism, and Palestinian Authority-controlled media and schools promote a culture of incitement. It is because of the lack of accountability and bad governance that billions of dollars have been squandered, and investment is unable to flow into the areas to allow the Palestinians to thrive. The Palestinians deserve a better future, and this vision can help them achieve that future. Palestinian leaders must embrace peace by recognizing Israel as a Jewish state, rejecting terrorism in all of its forms, allowing for specific arrangements that address Israel and the region's vital security needs, building effective institutions, and choosing pragmatic solutions. If these steps are taken and the criteria set forth in the vision are satisfied, then the United States will support the establishment of a Palestinian state. This vision is security-focused and provides both self-determination and significant economic opportunities for Palestinians. We believe that this design will enable the vision to be successfully implemented. This vision also provides positive benefits to the Kingdom of Jordan and the Arab Republic of Egypt and countries throughout the region. Let's see here. That's not the spot that I wanted, but let's see here. Here we go. The opportunities for regional cooperation. The Middle East has gone through dramatic shifts since the beginning of its conflict. In confronting common threats and in pursuing common interests, previously unmanageable opportunities and alliances are emerging. The threats posed by Iran's radical regime, for example, have led to a new reality where the State of Israel and its Arab neighbors now share increasingly similar perceptions of the threat to security. Here we go. If peace can be achieved, the economic and security cooperation between the State of Israel and the Arab neighbors can create a prosperous Middle East that is connected to a common desire for security and economic opportunity. If implemented, this vision can lead to a direct flight between the State of Israel and its neighbors, the transport of people and commerce, and the unlocking of opportunities for millions of people to visit the region's site sacred to their faith. Let's see here. Okay, here's another part of it. Economic vision for a prosperous future. We developed a detailed economic vision for what the future of Palestinians could be if there were peace. There has been a false notion that a lack of opportunity for the Palestinian people is Israel's sole responsibility. Solving the final status issues in the manner described in this vision would create a necessary condition for Sorry, the writing is so small and so light, I can hardly see it. Would create a necessary condition for investment and start flowing into the region. We estimate that combining this political solution with economic vision for investments, the government reforms that we have laid out will lead to historic economic growth. We estimate that the Palestinian GDP, which has been stagnant, could double in 10 years, create over 1 million jobs, and reduce unemployment rate below 10%, and reduce the poverty rate by 50%. This plan is ready to be implemented in the event that peace can be made on terms consistent with this vision. Yeah. So I just put a little bit of that. There was, like I was saying, that there was 188 pages of this, and some of it was just way over my head. I didn't understand. Some of it I wasn't really interested in, and I was mainly looking for the temple, if there was anything to do with that. But those few paragraphs, there was some words in there that really stuck out to me, and I don't know if you realized it as well. But this is all leading somewhere, right? And I don't believe at all, and I would never tell anybody that Donald Trump is the Antichrist. I don't believe that. But I do believe that this deal is setting it up for the Antichrist to come in to be able to make it greater, because Palestinians are rejecting this. 100% no, right? They don't want this at all. They want the destruction of Israel, which is where it's going to come into the war. This is where the prophetic war is coming, when they invade Israel and God takes over from there, and God allows the world to see who is in charge, and that's where this is headed. Israel is trying to start making good on this peace plan, where they're going to start annexing land that they rightfully own, according to the Bible, and they're going to start making people mad. And this is where the prophecy is coming, and Jesus is coming very, very soon. We don't know when, we don't know the hour, of course, but with all of this stuff that's happening, with everything in this peace plan, everybody is saying peace and safety, peace and security, peace, peace, peace. We want peace. Everybody is screaming for somebody to come and give the right answers, to come and give the right quote unquote peace covenant or peace deal. They're just screaming and waiting for somebody to come in and give everybody everything that they want. Everybody's going to get something in the end. The Jews are going to get what they want. Palestinians are going to get what they want. Everybody's going to get what they want in the end. Of course, it's a false peace. We know that. But I noticed how this peace plan that Trump put out, it's for 10 years. That is kind of setting it up right there, because the Antichrist is going to come in, and however long that takes, he's going to say 7 years. And maybe possibly that's what's going to push the Palestinians over, like, hey, just try it for 7 years. You don't, nothing's set in stone. We'll just try it for 7 years. If it doesn't work, we'll try something else, right? I don't know. I don't know how this is all going to play out, but I wanted to kind of share that with you because I've been reading on that the last few days about how I knew that the Jews had legal right to that land, but I wasn't sure how and why they aren't doing anything about it, because they could at any moment say, legally, this is our land. And I was kind of looking through the rules and the laws that were established in 1967, and it's been changed since then, but it's relatively the same, and you can kind of read through it and see how the Jews, they're kind of a funny people. They don't want anything to do with dead bodies or the graves or anything like that. And apparently that has something to do with that Temple Mount right now, where it's not cleansed or something, and there's a grave or something up there. And so that's why they're not making a big stink about it. That's why they're not wanting to go up there and like taking it over, because apparently it's unholy to them. It's their feet cannot touch holy ground or something like that. But yeah, I thought that was kind of interesting. I know it was really long, but I thought I'd share that with you guys and kind of, see what your thoughts are, see if you have any information that I didn't know, that you knew about. But other than that, guys, I just encourage you to look this stuff up yourself. And if you want to see the peace plan, you can find it online, you can download it, or you can look through it or whatever. It's really long, and there's a lot of words that I don't even know, and there's a lot of things that went right over my head and I don't really understand, as far as like financial stuff with the world. And that was another thing I noticed too on there. I didn't put it in here, but I noticed how it said somewhere in there, I forget what page it was on, that during this peace plan, how they contacted basically the people of the world. They got their input, they got their ideas on this peace plan. So that kind of struck me too, and I forgot to put it in here, how it's not specifically just Kushner's plan, and that's why a lot of the people, a lot of the world is accepting it, because they went out to the world and gained the entire world's perspective, and they took note on how they thought that peace could be established. And so they added a lot of that stuff in this peace plan. It's not just Jared Kushner or his team. It's the entire world in that. I did notice that, and I just remembered that. I forgot to put that in there. But yeah, if you look through that, you'll be able to see it. I forget what page it's on. It's really down far. It's like 50 or 70 or something like that. But anyways, I thought I would share that with you guys. I hope that's interesting to you. I hope you didn't fall asleep by now. I know this video is really long, so I hope you haven't fallen asleep by now. So with that, I love you guys. And then tomorrow, I'm hoping tomorrow to do the question and answer. If I don't do it tomorrow, I will definitely do it Sunday. And we'll do the question and answer, and I'll answer all of your questions. I have them all written down, who I'm going to answer and how I'm going to answer it. So with that, I love you guys. And until next time, may you be richly blessed.